In my last video, we fed some chickens, terraformed a whole bunch of land, and killed the ender dragon. In today's video, we're going to be making a sugarcane farm. Just kidding, those take way too long to grow. So instead, I took this sugarcane farm and I converted it into a bamboo farm because bamboo grows way faster than sugarcane. I'm also going to want to build a few other farms in today's video, but my first stop away from home is going to be the swamp. I made a giant platform out in the swamp waters to hopefully make more mobs spawn, because everybody knows that you can only get slimes in a swamp and other areas, but I don't really know how to find those other areas, so I went to the swamp. I then went to the end portal to make my sand duper, concrete duper, whatever you want to call it. Turns out they patched how to get rid of the end frames, so I had to download my realm onto just a normal world, convert back to an older version of Minecraft, then go into the world, retry everything. When I went to re-upload my world, turns out that I ended up at my parents' house. Don't even ask me how that happened, I don't know. Eventually I got everything figured out, and when I got back on, me and Christina went netherite mining. Originally we were using the bed method to try and find netherite, scraps, ancient debris, whatever you call these things. That proved effective both in finding them but also getting ourselves blown up. So eventually we just started mining for it ourselves. And when we made it back to the surface, we found these guys who originally looked angry, and sure enough they were angry at us. So we took them out, I killed the leader, got the voluntary exile achievement. If you're expecting us to do a raid in this video, your expectations will not be met, nor will we do a raid in the next video. It'll be a while before we actually do a raid on the village. At the end of the last video, I include a screenshot of this, though it technically didn't happen until this video. We made 2 beacons, and then I wanted to make a lot more beacons in this video, and so I went ahead, took Christina to this nether fortress inside of Soul Sand Valley where wither skeletons are most likely to spawn, and then we got to work just digging everything out, expanding platforms in every direction that we could. Overall, this was a pretty simple process. The only hard part about this was fighting all of the blazes that spawn here. We got rid of any of the blaze spawners that we could, but even with this, there were still so many blazes that spawned. And without any fire protection, we took a lot of damage, and it was a really big hassle to begin with. One thing we did to hopefully increase the number of wither skeletons that spawn is widening all the hallways of the fortress. This makes it, do what I just said, it makes more wither skeletons spawn. And then some of the hallways we also put safe areas like this in case we ever were being attacked and got to low health. We could run down here, close the doors behind us, and be safe from all the hostile mobs. As you can see, once we had all this place dug out, lots and lots of hostile mobs were spawning, and blazes were the most annoying by far. Anything else could be dealt with pretty easily, but without that fire protection armor, blazes were just such a pain. In the end, it was pretty effective though, just from being there. I don't even remember how long we were there, but we ended up coming back with an entire 10 wither skeleton skulls, so that alone is 3 more beacons. And then after that, I came down here. My villagers were living in a complete pigsty. It was super ugly. So I took out their old walls and replaced them with this super nice looking dirt. And then I also add this ladder over here. I don't remember if I had that ladder in the last video, but basically what that ladder lets me do is get up here quickly. And until I build an iron farm, this is going to be my source of iron. Spoiler alert, we do not build an iron farm in this video. I don't know why I didn't, because honestly, they're so easy to build. This is something else I did that I'm not going to go over a whole ton, but just a ton in the background. There's like little things like this where I'm just spending hours and hours of my time trying to get the trades I want, but it's super boring to watch. Nobody wants to watch me do this for hours and hours. So trust me, anytime you see a new enchantment on one of my tools like Fortune or Unbreaking 3 and you're wondering where it came from librarian villagers just doing this over and over. But like I said, I'm not going to show it every time I do this because that just takes too long. Eventually I got Fire Protection 3. I think I actually didn't decide to go with Fire Protection 3 here. I kept trading and trading with him until eventually he gave me Fire Protection 4. But Fire Protection 4, one thing I didn't know about it is you can't have normal protection and fire protection on the same piece of armor. So I had to make myself a new helmet, which was kind of annoying, but by the end of this video I'm going to have more diamonds than I know what to do with, so it's really not that big of a deal. I decided to use the netherite that we got earlier on my boots. I don't know why I chose my boots, but I chose my boots. I think my thinking there was kind of, you don't always use your chest plate, and then I have two helmets, so it was either the boots or the pants. And then my next item of business was killing withers. I would put a wither underneath the end portal, and then while it suffocated, I would come and I would dig out a ton of obsidian from all of the towers. And then whenever the wither got like close to dying, I would run back over there and get the final hit on it. Originally, I thought I had to be the one to hit it for the last time. Like if I didn't get the hit right here, it wouldn't drop a star. But I found out later on that that is not the case, so it didn't really matter. And I just did this for a while. As you can see, I still have 3 more withers to go after this. I'm not going to show myself do that every time because as much fun as time lapses are, they get old pretty fast. But I ended up with all of this obsidian as well as end crystals apparently. I don't know why. Oh yeah, that's why I put it in here. So in our first video, Christina got the last hit on the dragon. She got the advancement. So I had to go get some end crystals, killing Ghast and whatnot, so that I could also get the achievement. I'm not going to show this entire fight because we already showed the dragon fight in the first video. So if you want to watch that, go click wherever it is. So here's the highlights of the fight. The dragon respawning. I've never seen that before. The dragon dying a second time. Also never seen that before. That's about it. There's not a whole lot more to say. It was just a bunch of bow spamming, hitting him with my sword whenever he came to perch. We've all seen it before. So after that, I was back to the nether to expand more platforms, to get even more wither skeleton skulls. Like I said, I'm planning to get a lot of beacons in this video. Even if we don't even use all of the beacons in places, I'm still gonna try to get them. I spent about 2.5 hours here, ended up with another 27 skulls, which meant once I killed all of those withers, I believe I would be at a total of 16 beacons at this point. Right here is the part where I realized that I don't have to be the one to kill the wither to actually get his star to drop. And so after that, anytime I was mining obsidian, I worried a lot less about getting back to the wither in time. And yeah, just like that, I now had 14 beacons. So plus the other 2 beacons right there is going to be a total of 16 beacons. Originally, I was going for 16 beacons because I wanted a beacon of every color. I decided, as cool as that would be, that's not actually the way I want to go with that right now. So for right now, I'm just kind of focusing on getting a giant beacon. One way I'm going to do that is just killing tons and tons of these iron golems. I also go mining for iron every once in a while. With fortune, it doesn't take too long. And then killing all of the zombie pigmen in the nether also gives me tons of gold. So I guess that's it. I skipped through a lot of that really fast, but already that's all 16 beacons lit up. Another thing I want to do in this video is get every mob head that you can get in the game. So to do that, I made these little cages where I would trap creepers during thunderstorms. I had actually never worked with charged creepers before, so I didn't completely understand how they worked. I mean, I knew you had to wait for them to get struck by lightning, and then after that, it's just a matter of getting them to blow up near mobs. So the first time I tried this, I was just wearing elytra, didn't really think much of it, and I ended up dying. But luckily, this is survival, not a hardcore world. Which honestly, it's just so much more fun when it's survival than hardcore because I don't have to worry so much about dying. I was going to put these mob heads above the bed. It was actually super ugly and I didn't even have all the heads I needed at this time. I went back to the nether to get some wither skulls and this is where I'm going to put them for now. After I got all the heads, I decided that it was time to expand the bamboo farm that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And if I wanted this bamboo farm to be as functional or like most productive as possible, I would bring this hole all the way down to Y level -64 or however low it can go. I'm just going to take this down to Y level 0-ish and it's still going to be plenty effective just like that. To expand the farm, I needed lots of iron and redstone. While looking for redstone, I actually came across a whole ton of diamonds. Like I said earlier, we're going to have so many diamonds, we don't really know what to do with them at the end of this video. And so because I was getting so many diamonds, I decided that I could also get a whole ton of emeralds from all of my villagers. And then rather than just having a 2-tier beacon, I could have a 4-level beacon. So I would have diamonds on top with emeralds underneath that. And then I switched the iron and the gold levels because typically iron is easier to get than gold. And so I don't even know what the math on this is, but it's going to be a lot of iron, a lot of gold. Not too many emeralds, and then a decent amount of diamonds, but with Fortune 3, it's honestly not that hard to get enough diamonds. Just like that, I already had a decent start, and by the end of this video, like I said, we'll make sure we have a complete layer of diamonds, emeralds, gold, and silver. I had tons and tons of iron from the mines. That was going to be the easiest to go through. And then one thing I did change is I shortened it down to just, the 4x4. I think we'll up this to a 3x3 later on, but having 16 beacons just isn't really necessary. I'd rather spread them out and get the effects everywhere. If you're wondering what I'm doing right here, I needed a bunch of cobblestone to make observers and pistons for the bamboo farm. But when I mined all of this stone, I was accidentally using a silk touch pickaxe. If I was smart, I would have just gone and got cobblestone from underground somewhere, but I figured this would look kind of cool to put in a video, so I did it anyways. And then once I had all that, I put some glass over the hole just for safety, and then I got to expanding the entire bamboo farm. I'm not going to show you exactly, well, I'm going to show you exactly how this works, but I'm not going to show it every time. So I lay some dirt down, and then I dig the blocks behind it. Then you've got one layer of any block, then a layer of pistons. Then you dig behind the pistons because you have to place the observers facing this way, or I guess like their faces facing out. And then you place any block behind that with redstone on top of that. And what that does, it makes it so that anytime this bamboo grows up to the observers, the pistons pop out. And so all of the bamboo comes like falling down towards the bottom. I spent a while just kind of making this farm. It really took a really long time. I'm not going to go over all of the specifics. Anytime I got bored, I'd come to the nether and kill more wither skeletons. I found that by kind of walking in this serpentine pattern, I could get large amounts of them. And then also by punching a zombie pigman, I was able to get all of them by the door as well. I didn't really need their gold too much. This was mostly just for getting experience points. That's the main reason that I would come to the nether, is just because my pickaxe or my shovel or whatever would be kind of dying. When I eventually got the bamboo farm reaching all the way down to Y level 0, now all I had to do was find a way to get all of this bamboo down here to get back to the top. Which, like, obviously I can just use water, but to make it more complicated, I first made a redstone clock, which connected to an auto crafter, and that auto crafter would turn the bamboo into sticks. The idea from here is that the sticks would float up this water column, because in my other world I had a system kind of like with this, where string would float up a column of water, but I don't know if it's an update since 1.21.5 or whatever update it is, or if sticks are just different than string. But I ended up having to fill this entire place in with water coming up from soul sand, which was just such a pain because I have to do this one layer at a time for over 70 layers, maybe just about 70 layers. And as you can see, the bobbing up and down from all of the bubbles makes this super hard to do, super annoying, but I'm super glad I did it because in the end it was pretty effective. As you can see, all of these sticks are just going to float to the top. I still needed to find a way to get them to all collect, and so I made this sort of stream. So the sticks would come flying up, and then because the water was flowing down towards these hoppers, the sticks would fall into the hoppers and I could collect them. As you can see, the stick rates are terrible. There's almost no sticks inside of there. We'll get into why that is later. I took a quick break to help Christina get a bunch of glowberries. Christina's going to be working on a build between this video and the 300-day video. And so every once in a while, I helped her get stuff. But for the most part, she'll just be working on that by herself. And then after I helped her with that, it was back to expanding the bamboo farm. I'm gonna do this on 3.5 more sides, or 2.5 more sides, so it's gonna be on 3 sides above ground. And then all 4 sides of the water square, if that makes sense, are gonna have bamboo, which will really boost the rates of how fast I'm getting sticks. And yeah, this is just a time lapse of me building it. Nobody wants to see the entire time lapse, so I kind of skip through parts. In the end, here's what it looks like. I think it looks pretty good. The rates are kind of slow. The reason for this is you need a light source in there. I didn't know this at the time because I was asking ChatGPT questions and it was like, yeah, bamboo grows at the normal rate whether it has light or not, which is completely false. Bamboo in Minecraft still needs a light source to grow very quickly at all. I'll add that in later. But for now, I'm gonna cheat. This is the first cheat that I will use. I'm gonna turn mob griefing on and off throughout this series. The reason for this is I'm just building too cool of stuff and too complicated of stuff to lose it to a creeper. I just don't want that to happen. If I was playing on a normal server, they'd probably have mob griefing off anyways. And so I am gonna have mob griefing off for the most part. The only times I won't have it off is whenever I need to breed villagers, because villagers won't breed if mob griefing is turned off. So it'll be going off and on. I just wanted to let you guys know I'm cheating, but only kind of. I got this, not the string duper, the concrete duper working, but I didn't have a chunk loader yet. And so I got on Christina's account and just had her wait by the portal. And soon enough, we got red concrete flowing in here pretty quickly. We can expand this to be 12 times faster, but honestly, for only 2 people on this realm, we don't need this to be any faster, and so this works for right now. We got our red concrete, and then after I got enough red concrete, or at least I thought I had enough red concrete, I started duplicating white concrete. If you've watched my other 1000 day series, then you probably already know, or I guess if you saw the thumbnail of this video, because the thumbnail is 100% going to have this in it. But right now we're getting all the materials we need to make the lighthouse. Once again, doing this stupid little time lapse where I go up to build height. I thought this was like a genius idea while I was doing it. Looking back, maybe I shouldn't have done so many of these, but it's kind of fun, I guess. I built this little base for the lighthouse to be on. I couldn't remember exactly how I built my other lighthouse. I kind of looked at pictures and tutorials for that one. Everything I do in this world, I want to be my own design. I don't know if this lighthouse is going to look as good as my lighthouse in my other video, but I don't really care because it's my own design. I'm doing everything by myself. And so, as you can see, I'm going to have to destroy a lot of things, just trying to figure out how I want everything to look. So far, the foundation is looking pretty good. Here's my lighthouse in my other world. As I was looking at it, I noticed this one was way smaller than I thought it was. And so I didn't show me originally building this, but I actually built a lot of the lighthouse up in my actual world that I'm playing on now. Probably took me about just over an hour, but it was too wide. It didn't look quite right. And so I destroyed it all, and then I started rebuilding it. I brought it in one so the diameter is too shorter. This isn't going to change a whole lot, but overall I'm really glad that I destroyed it and redid it, because overall it looks way better. Now, I'm not going to show this entire thing because that time lapse would take like way too long unless I speed it up to 100 times like this. Okay, that wasn't 100 times, I was only 64 times faster than the normal speed, but now I'm going to start building a house for my villagers. The lighthouse actually isn't done, as you can see. It still needs to have a top to the lighthouse, but I don't want to do that right now. I want to start building a house for my villagers. I don't know exactly what villagers I'm going to put in this house, but my villagers need a house because it's going to be day 200 and I can't have them living in a pit anymore. So I might as well like make them an actual house for them to live in. So I'm using lots of logs. One of the hardest parts of building this house was just getting the materials. As far as just building, like building's easy when it's just a simple house design like this, but I was using lots of logs. Took a break to add my light sources. This must have been when I found out that I needed light sources for all of my bamboo to grow, and sure enough, this did make the rates go way faster. And then it was back to building the house. Yeah, what can I say? Another one of these stupid time lapses where I go to build height. I decide to add windows on almost every wall of the house. This wall didn't really have a window because it just opened right into that wall. So I decided that that would be a good place to put a staircase. I also decided to add a second floor because what's a house if it doesn't have at least a second floor? That just used simple planks. Getting planks is pretty easy. It's just these stupid logs that take so long to get. I added fences all around the second floor. A lot of the second floor is just gonna be kind of like a upper deck balcony area. It's not actually gonna be inside. It's gonna be outside with lots of fences. Here's what it looks like so far. It's looking pretty good. I can show you another view of this from up above. One thing that will really bring this whole house together is adding a roof. This kind of goes without saying. Most villagers just have oak planks as their roofs, and so that's what I'm going to be building this roof out of. It's pretty simple, but it looks good. I mean, it's coming together pretty good. It's not perfect, and there's a few things I'm going to try to add to make it look better, but just alone, like right there, it looks pretty good. One thing that I think would make it look better, and I was kind of hesitant while doing this, but looking back, I think I like this design. I added a second balcony. It was pretty simple, but I'll go ahead and show another view of that. And yeah, like that, I think it was definitely a good thing that I added that to the build because it just like gives it a lot more definition. I didn't think everything through. For example, I didn't think through the fact that all of my villagers had been dying down here. As you can see, there's only like 4 villagers down here. You probably actually can't see because I'm getting absolutely destroyed by that baby zombie. Anyways, all of my villagers have been dying down there, so I'll be sure to breed those back into existence later. A few more things to fix the house. I moved the staircase in a little bit. I think this looks better, having it not stick out. Add some trapdoors to prevent villagers from getting out. And then I also have 4 beacons in the roof of the house. I had to take a break from building the house though, because the other side of that nether portal, I had a piglin waiting in a boat. I had actually had him there for a very long time. So now that a thunderstorm was finally happening, all I had to do was go to the other side. I honestly probably could have survived that had I worn armor and just ran away quicker, but I wasn't sure if I was going to. I didn't want to accidentally lose my armor. So I just took it all off. Luckily, sure enough, when I went to the other side, I did find a piglin head, which was the last head that I needed for my collection. And yeah, that's how you get ahead in the game. My next goal was to make a whole bunch more beacons because I guess 16 wasn't enough. This time, rather than digging obsidian, I just edited the 100 days video, and then anytime I heard the blowing up stop, then I would run back down here and get the nether star. In the end, it gave me enough nether stars to make 15 beacons. Another thing that I should probably mention, though it's not very important, I do get other mob heads throughout this video, but I'm not going to show them because now I have all of the mob heads. And one thing I needed to finish the villager house was cocoa beans, and you'll see why. I flew to this jungle where I met Jimmy. Another thing I got while I was here is a frog. The jungle was right next to a swamp, and I found this white frog, so I took both of them home. Pretty excited to have them there. Unfortunately, when I went to destroy this dragon's head, the drowned started attacking me, which in and of itself was not a huge problem. Like, you just kill the drowned, whatever. But when I went back and tried to destroy the dragon's head this time, I accidentally killed Jimmy, so that kind of sucked. I went back to the jungle to get cocoa beans, and while I was there, I found some more frogs, so I decided to take them with me. And then, of course, I also got the cocoa beans because that was kind of the whole purpose of going to the jungle. When I got back, I used the cocoa beans to make brown dye so that I could then make brown stained glass. I put the brown stained glass in the top of the villager house because now it kind of symbolizes the brown house a lot better. And because I did that, I also went ahead and added 4 beacons in the basement, I guess you could say, of the lighthouse, and I color coded them to the color red because the lighthouse is red. As you can see, the lighthouse still isn't finished, but overall things are really starting to come together. One thing that I've been doing in the background and haven't really mentioned because it doesn't really matter is curing zombie villagers to get a whole bunch of cheap trades. I'm getting a ton of Unbreaking 3 books, Fortune books, Efficiency 4 books. I would have got Efficiency 5, but I just couldn't get an Efficiency 4 villager. I didn't really mention that because I already have maxed out tools, and so all of the books that I was getting didn't really help me. That was happening in the background, but the main goal right now is to build this lighthouse. I went mining for a bunch of deep slate cobble, as you saw there a second ago, so that I could make all of these steps going up the lighthouse. It took me a while to figure out how to get the spiral staircase going up. And then even more difficult was, once I was at the top here, was figuring out how to make the room in the middle of the lighthouse. Because originally I thought, okay, I can just kind of make like this simple 4x4 room. So I went ahead and I mapped that out right here. When I was looking at this, I was like, okay, no, that's going to be way too small. That's just going to look so wrong. I expanded it out to a 6x6, I believe. But as you can see, coming up the stairs, a 6x6 just looks awful. The walls would kind of get in the way of coming up the stairs. It just looks so bad, and I was honestly kind of like stressing right here because I didn't know how to fix it. So what I did was I actually destroyed all of the walls, and I expanded the platform out here by 2 blocks. So by doing that, it allowed me to add a much bigger room in the middle while still keeping a decent area for the, I don't know what you would call it, the balcony area, just where all of the walls are. This would allow me to put an actually decent light on top of the lighthouse while still looking good while coming up the stairs right there. Because I'm going to have to build a lighthouse, obviously I'm going to need lots of lights. So I went to the nether to destroy tons of glowstone. I'm going to be honest, I had to come back here like 3 or 4 more times. I kept underestimating how much I needed. Same with the redstone. I did get enough quartz the first time I went there, so quartz wasn't really ever a problem. But as far as getting the glowstone and the redstone, I just had to keep going back to the mines several times. So while I'm doing all of this in a matter of like seconds to minutes, all of this took hours and hours, real lifetime. Laying down all of the lanterns was pretty simple. The hard part was this observer part, because I did not follow any tutorials. I was just figuring this out all by myself. The first design I did actually wasn't terrible. It hits all of the lights except for on every side that you see the 4 lights in a row, it skips 2 of those lights. I don't know why that is. I'm not going to try to figure it out. I went to the mines to get a whole bunch more redstone so I could get a ton more observers to make a new design. This new design was definitely better, but as you can see, what I would call the corner pieces of this circle, it's just kind of like the single pieces. I don't really know how to explain it, but there's still 4 lanterns that don't light up with this design. I wanted the design to be as good as possible. So while this was a pretty good design, I decided if I want views, because I guess it needs to be perfect for the video, then I gotta scrap it and try one more time. In the end, I decided to go with this rather complicated design. I don't even know how to explain it. And I can guarantee that not all of the levels are exactly the same, but they're close enough that they're all gonna line up well enough, I guess. Yeah, it's kind of complicated, but let me show you it from far away and you'll see that it does work overall. Like it does look pretty good. Just like that. I don't know if it's perfect, but literally who cares? It's a functioning lighthouse in Minecraft, so we're gonna keep it. One thing I did want though, as you can see in that last frame, the lights weren't exactly lined up. I had Christina come up here and we tried to lay our observers at the exact same time. He insisted that I turn on audio for this part. I don't remember why, but we tried it, and let me show you the results of our first try. It's not perfect, but it's gonna have to do. I don't know if it's possible to get it perfect even if you had 3 or 4 people working all together. We had that, and then once we had the lights working, now we just had to add a roof to the lighthouse. I tried my best to make this roof look good. Honestly, I might come back on day 600 or 700 and make it look better if I can, but I just don't know how to make it look any better than what I produce right here. It's pretty easy. At the top I made sure to add stairs so that the beacons could still shine up through. I'll fly over here so you can kind of see what it looks like currently. It's definitely a pretty good looking lighthouse for building it all by myself without any tutorials. One thing that I can add is a bunch of stairs underneath all of the lights. What this does is it just kind of separates the light part from all of this balcony area. It's not a huge thing, but if I fly out here again and then come back in, you're gonna see that it does give the lighthouse just a little bit more detail. It kind of separates it, gives it that lip. And so I'm definitely glad that I add those stairs because it makes it look a lot better. And then the rest of the video from here is just kind of doing like the most random stuff. I made a shulker box of every color other than brown. I forgot where I put my cocoa beans, so we don't have a brown shulker box. But I added a bunch of shulker boxes around the portal, added some more decorations at the villager entrance, organized a bunch of my chests, just kind of consolidated everything because everything was super messy at this point. I got rid of my stupid creeper cages for thunderstorms. Ah, these were so ugly. I was so glad to finally get rid of these. I did a little terraforming, both digging and replacing. And then I know it's only like 3 minutes left in this video, but I decided to add a dock onto this house. I thought it would look good, and to be honest, I'm super proud of how this turned out. I'm just kind of speeding through all of this because once again, it's just basic building with blocks. I don't know why I include this part because I ended up getting rid of that balcony area up there. I did not want it. Several times I ran out of materials, so I had to go out to the woods and get a whole bunch more wood just to be able to finish it. Because as you can see, there's tons of logs in this part too. I ran out of wood so many times. But in the end, like I said, I'm super proud of how it turned out. It looks pretty good. So here we are on day 200. We've got our bamboo farm with some some zombie heads above the doors to show that you will die if you go in those doors because they lead all the way down to the bottom of here. The farm isn't completely done. As you can see, only 2 columns are done underground, but overall it's pretty effective. The island's really coming together. We've got Christina's tree over to the left over here. She'll definitely finish this by day 300. It's already come together pretty well. We've got our 4 level 3x3 beacon, if that makes any sense. Now, as I was recording this, I was like, ooh, if I come down here, I can show that it's completely diamonds throughout here. Because I thought that if it was a block other than diamonds, it would show. But it could be cobblestone in the middle of, well, I guess it couldn't be cobblestone because the beacon wouldn't be working. But it could be iron in the middle of there. So you guys will just have to trust me. That's completely diamonds on top, completely emeralds on the second row, and so on and so forth. Then we've got our lighthouse. Once again, super proud of how this turned out. It's kind of a massive lighthouse. This is definitely not to scale of how big any real life lighthouses are. It would be much skinnier. But I don't really care because this thing just looks so cool. Our spiral staircase, here are the inner workings of it. Kind of ugly, but if it works, it works. Here's the view from the coastline. We've got our docks down here. I guess that's what you could call them. These will play a huge role in our next video. I'm not going to tell you what that is yet, but we'll be coming back to those docks in our next video. I've got a pretty exciting plan for our next video. Nothing new to me. I've spent countless hours in here, but I figured I'd show you guys one more time before the end of the video. Yep, tons and tons of wither skeletons build here. Yeah, that's basically gonna be it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, hopefully you're already subscribed, but subscribe if you're not. Like the video, share it, do whatever you want. And with that, adios.